Hello everyone, and we here with Team Honeypots are very excited to share with y'all our strategic plan for 2021 to 2025 here at the 100 Acre Wood Library. Now, as the library is preparing to safely reopen for our community after the forced closures last year, we know that we need to implement new cleaning and sanitizing procedures, and the library also plans on adapting the unused outdoor space into an area for patrons to access more of our services. The library also recognizes the need for a dedicated teen space to accommodate the town's growing young adult population. These goals allow us to expand the 100 Acre Wood Library's services and further add to the library's value within the community. We have been serving the Milne, Connecticut community for 100 years now. In celebration of our centennial, we recently received a generous donation of additional building and land to further expand. So we reached out to our community to get information on what our patrons want and would love to see from us here at the library, which has led to our fun and exciting additions that we recently had with the additional study room and the really fun new cafe. But the world has been turned upside down with the pandemic, and we need to support our community further to ensure the safety of everyone traveling here to the 100 Acre Wood, which includes further health and safety modifications, but also continuing to follow the desires of our patrons. We have taken serious thought in analyzing the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats with our plan, as seen with our chart here. Some of the strengths that we have are we have the available space to build, which is amazing. We're also in a central location close to middle and high schools, and the space that we have allows for an element of reassurance to our staff and patrons at this time. The weaknesses are mostly focused on budget limitations. Also, our plan would require more work from the staff members because there's consistent upkeep necessary. Also, at this time, COVID guidelines and precautions are changing every day. So we don't really know exactly what's going to be the guideline reference point from day to day. The opportunities, though, that we have are to form partnerships with schools and teen organizations around in our area so that we can collaborate in the outdoor space. The threats include the potential zoning concerns from our city, but predominantly it's the fear associated with the pandemic and the divide that exists over pandemic safety precautions. As we move into our goals and objectives that we have, it's important to remember our mission and vision that we have here at the 100 Acre Wood Library. We are committed to friendly, competent, and professional service. We shall encourage and satisfy the community's love of books and the quest of information and lifelong learning. We serve as a vital community hub and center for innovation. We aim to be indispensable in the daily quality of life of our community and maintain the relevance of the library and services we offer, which is why it's really important that we think about building a teen space. Our current young adult collection is housed in a small room adjacent to the adult section. It's overcrowded and lacks the space to hold computers and study stations, tables, and chairs needed for programming and studying. Velasquez, in one of their articles, notes that cultivating a space in the library that teens can activate and own sends teens a strong signal that they are valued and welcome. We want the young adults in our community to know that they're welcome. We want them to come into our library and utilize our services and the programs and opportunities that we provide. by a teen space, we mean an area that's specifically focused on the grades 7th grade to 12th grade. And it's going to be a place where they can find books and the media materials that they're interested in. And it's also a space where we can conduct the teen and young adult programs for them. So when building and designing this teen space, we have a few objectives for this goal. The first one is that ideally within this first quarter of 2022, the teen services specialist will contact architects and discuss the space, getting bids from 3 potential architects. From there, in the second quarter of 2022, the teen services specialist, director of youth services, and the library director will present the architect plans to the board of directors and vote and hire the architect and contractor. The third step will be that we need to shop for and furnish and equip the completed teen space. That's going to be within like the first quarter of 2023, and that's going to be done by the teen services specialist and our youth services staff. The budget for the teen space is factoring in a patron occupancy of about 100, taking into consideration the physical distancing requirements. The construction cost is about $980,000, and the total budgeting for furnishings is about $350,000. And that includes desktop computers, laptops for patron use, tablets, Wi-Fi services, additional outlets throughout the space, tables, armchairs, bean bags, 3D printer for the makerspace, and self-service checkout. All of which are important for teens as it takes into consideration the new requirements from our digital landscape and culture that we exist in. Our second goal is COVID guideline renovations. So this past year, we've had to get really creative about the ways that we can still maintain our mission to the Milne community. And now as we are able to open up our physical library to our patrons and our community, we still need to continue to be creative about how we reach out. Some of the objectives for this goal include creating a functional outdoor space. We can transform our current courtyard to allow for physical distancing and to serve as an extension of our library itself. It also allows us to get more creative about the potential programs we can offer. Like, we could have an outdoor movie night, which would be amazing during the summer months. Steps we need to take include at the beginning of quarter 2, our social media and marketing teams need to poll the community and library staff just to get feedback about the potential and desire and vision for what this space could be. From the data, the library staff and board members will meet and create a document so that we can present that to the contractors. Shortly after that, the library director and facilities manager need to meet with the contractor about design and the installation. And then after that, it's the contractor and their team creating and building the space. Our second objective is to expand the COVID-friendly library displays. So those would be the frontal view displays that we have of media, like with our library recommendation tables. This will just allow for increased distancing on the stacks themselves and create a more open flow of movement within the library itself. So at the beginning to mid of Q2, the librarians and library staff need to meet to discuss and create the idea for the displays that's both functional and aesthetically pleasing. From this meeting, the head librarian and facilities manager will meet with a carpenter to design and plan the fixtures themselves. In the interim, an action is to create the displays with our current return carts that we have. This is not sustainable in the long run, as there is a risk of these displays being moved beyond the social distancing requirements. But once the new fixtures are created, we will install and set up the new fixtures, and that will be all of the library staff when the library is closed. Moving forward, the displays will be rotated on a bi-weekly basis, and we will develop a team that's responsible for the upkeep, but the whole library staff will be involved in these displays. The budget for the outdoor space is about $50,000, and it takes into consideration the necessary equipment so that the space is functional and sustainable at in all kinds of conditions. We can have outdoor stacks and dedicated tablet for guests to check out these materials, outdoor hand sanitizer stands, the various seating options, heaters, fans, and additional power outlets. Our two primary concerns include lack of funding, to which we will continue to apply for grants and various donations, as well as a secondary COVID shutdown. Cases are steadily decreasing and vaccines are becoming more readily available, but with the existence of the variants, there is still a potential that libraries will need to decrease their services once again. Adding a dedicated team space and developing COVID-safe procedures, policies, and programs allow our library's mission as a center for lifelong learning, culture, and innovation to thrive. Both actions will serve vital community needs as Milne's youth population continues to grow and the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic forever change the way the library operates. The 100-acre wood library must move forward with its vision to effectively support Milne residents' needs and retain its place as a vital community asset. Our strategic plan outlines ways our library is able to keep our mission and vision alive and effectively serve the Milne community. The Tuckman stages of development began with communication on campus, where we shared our preferred email addresses and phone numbers. Once we'd established an email chain, we set up a reverse Zoom meeting where we introduced ourselves and shared our Strength Finder assessment results. We created a shared Google document to brainstorm team names and library ideas and determined our next steps. In the second stage of storming, we continued to utilize our shared Google document, which allowed us to all review and edit the various sections that we divided amongst the three of us. Having established a communication structure and team dynamic, we continued to communicate through email and frequent Zoom meetings to successfully complete all sections of the strategic plan as a team. From our team honeypots, Amy, Brett, and Lisa, we thank you. And in the wise words of Eeyore, don't forget, it never hurts to keep looking for the sunshine.